Hey there, you wonderful listeners. I have a question for you. Do you want to make a podcast? Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place and for free. How can you beat that? It's called Spotify for Podcasters. And here is how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, there are Q&A and poll options available, and those are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it has made doing my shows like the Steam Machine Podcast, Yabs Pod, and the JRPG Report much, much easier to do. Like being able to just go on there, record them, upload it, boom, it's done. I don't have to pay for a site service to host or anything like that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Welcome to episode number 2 of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and as always with me is my buddy.
This is Ryan.
My buddy Ryan. And today, we would like to announce to everyone that we are now available on all major podcast platforms, which is cool. No longer do you have to go to just Spotify or YouTube. You should be able to find it anywhere, which is
anywhere on the interwebs.
Anywhere and everywhere. I have to say, man, I felt pretty official when I opened up Podcast Addict and scrolled down and I searched our thing and boom, there it was. I was like, hey, we made it. So up next, I would like to thank Tadpog for the shout out that they gave us on their show. Tadpog stands for Tyler and Dave Play Old Games. They told all of their listeners what we are doing here, and so I would like to give thanks to them by letting our listeners know that they are a podcast with Tyler and Dave Play Old Games, like I said, and right now they are doing something similar to what we are doing, except they are using a randomizer to go through the entire Super Nintendo library of American released games. So they're going to be at it about as long as we are.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then the Super Nintendo, that's hardcore.
Oh yeah. It's really entertaining to listen to those guys because some of the games that they've covered are absolute gems, and some of them, I don't know how they made it into being released.
Yeah, no, I'm still waiting for our first stinker on this list.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, bro. Believe me. There's a few that I know are in my list that I'm like, oh God, here we go. In big news that we saw, though not quite PC or Steam related, but nonetheless important, the PS5 was announced for release. They have not given a price yet, but man, does this thing look sleek.
Yeah, no price, no release date. Kind of disappointing, but overall that event, like the lineup of games that they debuted or they showed during that was amazing,
incredible.
Fantastic.
Incredible. I wrote down some that stood out to me. The first one that really popped into my mind was Kenna. I don't remember the rest of the title, but it was Kenna.
Let's see. Kenna, Bridge of Spirits.
Dude, that game looks incredible.
Yeah.
What a cool little story it looks like it tells.
No, like out of the expected releases they have slated through 2020 through 2022, I've probably got about 8 games on that list that I am super excited for.
Yeah. When I was watching that release video when they were broadcasting it live on YouTube, man, like I could not get over that. It was like every game they showed, I was like, man, that looks really good. Man, that looks really good. Man, that looked real good.
Yeah.
You know, it was just over and over and over.
I can't wait for the first peek at the Avengers title that they're working on.
Yes, dude, that looks sweet. And me and comics, especially you in comics, man, like it's gonna be off the chain.
Absolutely.
Speaking
Absolutely.
of comics and superheroes and stuff, Spider-Man 2 looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, the Miles Morales
Yes.
edition. Like, definitely getting that pre-order as soon
I
as
think
it's available.
I told you when
Right.
we were just chatting one day that when I was playing through Spider-Man 1, there's a section where you take over and play as Miles for a little bit. And I thought that right then that you were going to switch over to the Miles Spider-Man. And I was like, oh, that is so cool. So to see them carry that over
Yeah.
into the next game is really, really nice.
Yeah. It's probably going to be like one of their bigger titles at launch, because I did see that they are going to have a special edition Miles Morales console available
Oh,
as
man.
well.
If it's the one that I was looking at, like if that's real, it's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, that's the one I'm getting. Like, it's super sexy console as compared to that Xbox mini fridge.
Oh, dude, the
Like,
Xbox just... I saw a great thing, a picture, I guess it was a meme. It was a picture of the Xbox with a piece of glass on it to hold up the PS5. It was like a little glass table. It was it was fucking fantastic.
that's funny.
Other
That's
games
funny.
that really stood out to me real quick, Ratchet and Clank. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan. They've kind of been like the PS flag bearer since Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, yeah. They've been around like the whole run of Sony
Yeah.
consoling, like the PlayStation.
Ever since PlayStation 2. And then it was kind of strange because PS4, all we got was the remaster of the original game. And they added in stuff
Yeah.
from the movie, which, don't get me wrong, I had a great... me and my dad played that, and we had a great time with it. But I was ready for some
Yeah.
new Ratchet and Clank content. Now that we've got one coming out, I'm really excited for it. The
Yeah.
Horizon sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. I know you probably haven't
Yeah.
played Horizon Zero Dawn, but man,
No,
what
I
a
have
game.
not.
What a game, dude.
Yeah.
Aloy.
I am excited for Ghostwire Tokyo because that looked stunning. That
That
looked
game did look
amazing.
really cool, man. Speaking of games that looked stunning, bro, that Stray game.
Yeah, Stray with the robots and
I looked into
the
it a
cats.
little bit. It's like apparently you're like a crime-solving kitty or something. I don't know.
Nice.
I'm all in. Like, I love
Yeah,
cats.
I'm in too. Like, all of the games that they showed during that event looked absolutely breathtaking. Like, I cannot wait for this system
Yeah, man.
to drop.
The Demon
Like,
Souls remake, Returnal.
Yeah, Returnal, the whole premise for that game is just wild. It's like Edge of Tomorrow meets
Groundhog Day.
some typical like sci-fi
Yeah.
thing. You just keep reliving your same day over and over again, but every time you respawn, the whole planet changes.
It's like Groundhog Day meets The Outer Limits.
what? Yeah, like
And then Resident Evil 8 looks fantastic.
yeah, Resident Evil
I'm usually
8.
like not a massive
that-
Resident Evil guy. Like, I like those games, but this one particularly, when they showed that, when they were walking into, I don't even like that ballroom, I guess you would call it. Very
Yeah.
old cathedral-esque style house. I was like, oh, I just want a whole game in a place like that. I just want to explore somewhere that looks like that.
Right. Some things I've been reading about this Resident Evil 8, the Village, is that it is going to focus more on the horror element and the atmosphere than action. So it's going to be more of like a slow jump scare playthrough instead of just guns blazing, let's mow down some zombies.
Yeah, which is kind of
like-
what Resident Evil's turned into in the past few years,
Yeah,
which is kind of
absolutely.
strange. And then they kind of went back to normal with 7. I think 7
Yeah.
had like less zombies and more like creepy, weird redneck kind of people. But I could be wrong. I didn't really play Biohazard much. Deathloop by Bethesda. I had heard nothing about this game before it got announced, and I guess it's just like you're an assassin trying to kill a certain number of people before you get killed, and there's another assassin hunting you the entire time.
Yeah, and what I was reading about that too is the title Deathloop comes from a feature that they have in the game where you can actually like loop time. So if you mess up on like your run or one of your like missions or something, you can actually reset the loop to rectify your mistake.
That's
like,
pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, that's wild.
And
Like,
I'm sure that game is going to come out with its usual Bethesda jank, but like it looks like it's going to be a good ass game.
I think I saw Bethesda was involved in quite a few of these games coming out, because I think they're also involved with that Ghostwire Tokyo.
It wouldn't surprise me. I know that they're slated to be working on Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah, Elder Scrolls 6. I keep seeing stuff about that. It still sounds like we're at least 5 years
absolutely,
out
because
for
they said that Starfield game that they're working on is coming out first, and I think that's not for another 2 or 3 years. So, being the Elder Scrolls fan that I am, I'm going to be an old man before I get to play 6, but I'll be cool with it.
Right.
The only other game that I've got right here that really stood out to me just because how ridiculous it looked was that Bug Snacks, I think it was called.
Yeah, Bug Snacks.
It reminded me of those old like rare games, collectathons, like Banjo-Kazooie. It reminded me of that, but a little more brought up to date. Yeah. And the whole eating the bugs and they become part of your body is so strange. It looks very campy, but I like those kinds of games sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. I am excited to see what kind of mechanics and how sports games play on this console.
Yeah, I wasn't
from the PlayStation through the PlayStation 4 and even on the Xboxes. Each generation, the play got a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to handle. With what they're doing now with the upcoming PS5 console, it's going to be interesting to see how FIFA or NHL play.
Yeah, because they only showed from what I saw, they only showed the NBA game and
the NBA.
I'm not really into
game.
the basketball games,
and even the attention to detail on that
Insane.
Was wild. If you actually paid that, they show the individual beads of sweat rolling down the players' faces.
The thing about the 2K games is it's like they've gotten really good at making it look better, but not making it play better. And I'm judging that basically off the WWE
a la
games.
WWE. Yeah. Garbage.
Just wait, we've got 2K20 in the list.
Oh, yeah, fantastic. Glitch City.
I will say this. I've been playing it here and there. It's not that bad, but I have not dove into story mode yet, and that's what everyone was complaining about. I've seen a few glitches here and there, but nothing that I haven't seen in the past 2 or 3 2K WWE games.
It'll probably be one of our first stinkers if it does pop up early on our list. But it has to be bad for them to have canceled the 2K line.
It's pretty rough. The problem is that they've patched it, and it's still janky. It's pretty ridiculous.
I think this is why, when it comes to games like WWE or NHL or Madden, instead of cranking out a game every single year, take your time, create a really good game, and then release yearly roster updates as DLC.
So make it $20 or something. People would fucking pay it.
Yeah. You don't need to pump out a new game every single year just because 1 or 2 people switch teams.
Yeah, absolutely, and that helps to. You're not just trying to pump out the same game with updated stuff. It gives you more time to sit back and be like, all right, well, what new innovations can we put in here instead of, all right, well, how do we make this new game play as good as the old game type thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And then with the yearly releases, they get rushed too. They can't actually fix some of the problems they had before. They can only try to hide it a little better.
That was happening with Assassin's Creed for a while. They still come out, I think, every year, but at least the games have gotten better.
Oh God, they're up to 21 titles, 22 titles in the Assassin's Creed line.
If you include all the little side games that are 2 or 3 hours long and stuff, it's insane.
Yeah.
But I will say that the newer Assassin's Creeds have gotten really good, so at least they're fixing their issues.
I have yet to play a single title from Assassin's Creed. I have not even touched it as a series.
I mean, if I was going to give you advice, I'd say skip the first 2 and just read about them. Check out the remaster of 3, and then start at Black Flag, which is 4, that's on our list. So
we have that on our list.
Eventually,
so cool.
We're listening to lots of Ailstorm while we're playing Black Flag, I'm sure.
Speaking of Sony and PlayStation stuff, did you catch the news about your series?
Did I catch the news? I caught the news and about exploded, my brother. And I know what you were talking about is Persona 4 Golden coming to Steam.
Yeah, I saw that and I figured you would flip out. as much as you rave about Persona 5 and the series as a whole, like, I knew this was going to
Oh,
tickle
dude, I
you
was
for
so
sure.
excited. I was so excited. I'm pretty sure my neighbors heard me freaking out about it. When I first saw the posting, my buddy James from the JRPG Report had shared it, and I clicked on it, and I was like, all right, maybe this is just rumor or whatever. But then, like, I'm looking, and it is rumor, but they've got, like, people who dig into the files and things like that have found thumbnails and things in Steam ready to go for release for it, which they
In that
Tomorrow.
tomorrow?
it'd be the 13th.
Nice.
Man, I am so
Okay.
stoked. So hopefully by the time this episode comes out and everybody's listening to it, I will be knee deep in Persona 4.
For a little while, because we still got our
Yes.
list to
Don't
work
worry.
on.
I'm not
Yeah.
forgetting about those. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And before Persona 4 Golden had come out on Steam, it was locked behind the PlayStation Vita, and I had never wanted to, invest in a Vita. I mean, they seem cool, but I did not take advantage of it when they were like $80. And
Yeah, they have a cult following. I don't know why Sony didn't run with it longer than they did.
it's a good question.
But because of the cult following and the collectors digging the Vita itself, it's got quite the resale value.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Like,
and then at one point they even had they called it the PlayStation TV, which was like a little box that you could hook up to your TV, and it played Vita games. And for a while, it was $50. Then everybody realized how awesome it was, and now it's like $150. It is
Damn.
the way of the
Damn.
collector. But speaking of PlayStation Vita, kind of brings us to our game today, because this series started out on PlayStation Vita, and I believe the game we played was originally a Vita game, and that is Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed.
wow, what a mouthful
They
of
all
a
are.
title, and what a mouthful of a game. Like,
Yeah, man. I think I described this game to you as a mile wide and an inch deep, and that's pretty.
yeah, that's about what it is. Like, the game was wild. Like, the actual play was cool. Storyline, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, I was so glad to discover the skip all button on the dialogue and the cutscenes, because after sitting through about 45 minutes, almost an hour of cut scenes just at the beginning of the game, I was over it.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I just want to play.
Yeah,
I just want to play the game.
I can imagine.
Like,
I can imagine. Yeah, this is not a good place for you to come into the series, and I think I told you that when we got it on the list.
yeah.
This game does not really introduce you to the characters. It kind of just throws you in expecting to know who they are and how they react. And the story of this game, is basically the CPUs, which are the goddesses of the world, are bored, and the whole world is bored because
Yeah.
there's no war going on. So they're basically just gonna,
Yeah. No more console wars or whatever they
the
called
console
it.
wars.
Like,
and they just decide to go kill a bunch of monsters and see who can have the best interview for Dengekiko and Famitsu, which is interesting. Which, actually, real quick, interesting tip. Dengekiko and Famitsu are based on the Japanese gaming magazines Dengeki and Famitsu, and they are like a
interesting.
rival magazine thing, which is why they are rival journalists in the game. So I thought that was pretty cool.
wow. That's cool. That is cool.
This series started off on PS3, and then it didn't do very well, and there was some jank to the game, so they remade the series for Vita. And that started with the Rebirth series, and then after the 3 Rebirth games is when Hyperdimension U came out. So, all of the console wars that they are talking about in the game happened before this game, but you do play through that kind of stuff in the others. This game is pretty much just an action game. It reminded me a lot of Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah, it's a really good hack and slash. Like, for the lack of storyline this game has, the hack and slash makes up for it.
Yeah, very
Like,
fast paced, very fun, very fluid. There was no real.
Yeah.
I hate to keep using this word, but there was no real jank to the moving or anything. It was very, very fluid.
Yeah, no, I had an issue with a couple of the characters and how slow they moved, and I wasn't sure if it was just because of the style of weapons they were using or what, but like Blanc, for instance, using the Warhammer, that's obviously a slow weapon, but Vert using the spear, there's no reason why she should have been slow. Like, no
Yeah,
reason
and
at
the
all.
fact that
Like,
Blanc is faster than Vert, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Vert really shined when you went into CPU form, but until you got there,
I think that when they pretty much all the characters, like some of the characters were good in CPU form, but once they hit that HDD level, like that HDD form, they all took another level. Like they all became
when they
juggernauts.
transform into their goddess form or whatever.
Yeah,
they fucked some shit up. Like I know you and I both were pushing out max. Like I think it maxed out at 999 hits and 999 million damage or something.
Yeah, the combo stops counting at 999 hits. The total damage given during that combo maxes out at 9,999,999 points. Like, and then even with like say Neptune using her third special ability that you acquire later in the game, deals 99,999 points on just that single attack.
Yeah,
like
it's nuts. And if you build your characters up, you're able to use that more than once in a row. It's like no boss really even stands a chance towards you.
No, they really don't. Like, and I only maxed out 2 characters on my playthrough. Like I maxed out Dengekiko and I maxed out Neptune.
I maxed out everybody except Famitsu and I want to say Nepgear. I think
Nepgear,
I know,
yeah.
Those 2 were the ones that I didn't max out. I maxed out everybody else, just because I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was just running through and just wrecking them. There are quite a few nods to other games in this game. If you did not notice this.
Yeah, all of the enemies, all of the creatures, monsters, whatever you want to call them, they're all Easter eggs in their own
absolutely.
right. Like you got the Doggoos from what was it like?
Yeah, they
Dragon
look like
Quest,
slimes from Dragon Quest, just with a dog face.
Yeah, and then you got the pipes from Mario and the mushrooms
and the little pixel invaders.
I think, the pixel invaders from Space Invaders. I think the wildest enemy that I came across was the walking anime portraits.
Yeah, the character portraits. Those always get me. Just crack me up.
Yeah, that was.
But I will say that this game's got some cool enemies too, like the giant mech dragon things that you fight. Like they're pretty sweet looking. Like they look like they could fuck your shit up, and they would.
Yeah, some of the like the mech enemies, they almost look like Gundam.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it reminded me
cool.
of. Was
like
cool. Gundam or. Oh man, there was another anime and I blanked. There's so many like mech animes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Little info about the land of Planeptune and all those. There's 4 nations. There's Planeptune, Louis, Last Station, and Leanbox, and they are each based on a console. You got Planeptune and Neptune herself based on the Sega Neptune, which never came out. Louis with Blonde, ROM, and RAM. That is like the Nintendo, like for the Wii. You had Leanbox and Vert kind of representing Xbox, and Last Station.
Xbox, obviously. And Last Station's PlayStation. Yeah.
And it's pretty funny that, the console wars are just basically based on what goes on in real life with, the economy and the way these businesses are like trying to go at each other. So it's like the CPUs, or I guess I could call them the goddesses. The goddesses are powered up by quote unquote shares, which are basically the people believing in them. Yeah, so
it, like the shares is essentially like sales.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it's like instead of sales, it's prayers or whatever. But yeah, the whole premise of the game is absolutely ridiculous. But I love it. This game takes place in a alternate dimension type thing, which they do a few different times. There's like Hyperdimension, there's Mega Dimension, and Cyber Dimension. There's a few different.
Are they all canon, or are they all like offshoots from like the standard Neptunia storyline?
So they're all canon that I know of. I know this game is a spin-off. The ones in the main line are like Rebirth 1, 2, and 3, which all these games are on our list. So there's Rebirth 1, 2, and 3, and 3 is actually called Hyperdimension Neptunia Victory, and then the game after that is called Victory 2. So I always thought it was 7, but it's not. It's V2 is Victory 2.
Yeah. Are they all the same like hack and slash system as Action Unleashed, or is this like
this game's action like hack and slash, and I think Blonde vs. the Zombies is a hack and slash game. which is another spin-off.
Yeah.
But as far as the main line of the games, they are turn-based.
Turn-based, interesting. So they took like a Final Fantasy approach to it, going from turn-based to real-time.
Yeah, in a way, in a way.
Very cool.
In the mainline
Very
games,
cool.
it's kind of cool because when you're going into battle, it's turn-based, and each of your character has like a radius around them that they can attack with. So, certain people's radius will be 10 feet in front of them because they're a ranged character, so you actually have to like move back because you're not stuck in one place.
Yeah.
You can kind of run around the battlefield, but when you're attacking, it's all turn-based. It's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
But this game, like we were saying, took a turn and went full Devil May Cry style. The main villain of this game is the next-gen mech, which basically just is a big baddie that you have to defeat eventually. You try to...
You think it was a big baddie. Like, you first come across it in the game, you throw your attack out there, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're back at the quest screen. What the hell happened? Did I get one-shotted? Did I just, like, was this meant to be a playable cutscene? Like, it threw me off at first. I was like, well, damn, did I really just get totally owned by the final boss? Like, do I really have to go back and grind through all of these levels that I have just done before? And this game is, like, completely misleading. Like, the quests are set up perfectly.
Yeah, I agree.
You can access more than one quest at a time, and the quests are recommended by level. So you know what you're getting into before you get into it. One thing that I noticed about this game that I did not like at all, and I actually had to message you about this, is like, I didn't know you could customize your characters.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could upgrade stats and items and weapons. Like, not a single mention in the game.
Yeah, it doesn't really touch on it until you go to the menu and actually click on it.
Yeah, like, once I got a hold of you, and once I figured that out, I flew through this game.
Oh yeah, once you start actually
the maxed out characters with the best the best items, the best weapons, like, this game's stupid easy, stupid simple.
Absolutely, and it probably helped that we had DLC weapons.
Yeah, for sure. And then like, once I got to that final boss yet again at the end of the game, it was probably a 2-minute fight. Like, it literally took me no time at all.
Once I got there, it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
Basically, when you get to that point and you're fighting the boss in the first time, you go in, like you were saying, and it basically comes to a non-playable cutscene, but it's still gameplay, where it beats you, tears your clothes off. The girls complain about that. You don't see anything. I just want to clarify, you don't see anything, although this game does have that in it. But I don't really want to touch on that much because it is what it is. But I will say, for people who want to enjoy this game without that, there are costumes that you can unlock that won't tear or anything, so you don't have to deal with that kind of stuff.
The unrippable costumes were my go-to.
Same.
As soon as I unlocked them.
Same.
I was like,
because this game's got that anime weirdness to it, and we'll leave it at that.
yeah, for sure.
But after you have that happen, the girls kind of go back and reformulate, and then basically, you just have to go and grind and grind and grind. And it reminds me, there is another Idea Factory game. I'm not sure Compile Hearts did it, but I know that they're kind of clumped together, so it might have been Compile did it in Japan, and then Idea Factory translated it. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but they have a game that's in our list too. It's called Trillion, and the premise behind Trillion is that there's one big bad monster that has 1 trillion HP, and you have to just build your team strong enough to keep trying to fight it until you are strong enough to take it down with 1 trillion HP. That's the whole thing.
That sounds awesome.
It's ridiculous.
Like,
it's another anime tropey game, but not quite as bad as this one. But like, I mean, with the anime cutscenes, like visual novel style. But the actual monster itself, I know the first time it drops you in there, you're running towards it. It's huge, and its health bar is massive, and it just one-shots you, and your dude's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then you work from there.
Yeah,
man. But it, like we touched on, there's really no story to touch on for Hyperdimension Neptunia U.
No, there really wasn't. It was just like, here's the game, here's the characters, like, have fun with
basically.
it.
And that's basically what, like, my recommendation to anybody who wants to try this game is, you don't even have to give a shit about the story. You could skip it. The good story for these games,
that skip all button was
the
amazing.
story that's worth it in these games is not in this spinoff. But as far as gameplay, dude, I highly recommend this to anybody who likes hack and slashes.
Yeah, if you like mindless hack and slash games, I definitely would give this a play.
Yes, yes,
for sure.
If you had to give it, let's do out of 10. I think it'll be easier. So at 1 out of 10 Neps, how many would you give it?
1 out of 10 Neps. Let's see. Ugh. I'm probably gonna go flat 5.
Solid.
Like, yeah. Like the hack and slash play and how fun it was makes up for the lack of storyline and how annoying it was to get around all of that just to be able to play.
Yeah, and I think, like, it takes away a little bit from it that it didn't really explain much of the mechanics and things to you other than how to fight, but it didn't really show you how to level up, how to switch characters. It didn't even really explain Lily ranks until you got into the menu for Lily ranks, and like that's required to beat the last boss.
Yeah, it is, and it's like I think it's also part of like some of the achievements that you can unlock during the game if you like max out the ranks for all of your characters. It's like a secret achievement.
I don't have time for that. That would take forever.
Yeah. Who were your go-to characters on this game?
My go-to characters, probably Dengekiko, Blonde, and Neptune.
Yeah, Dengekiko and Neptune, definitely for sure. I really liked Uni too. Once I figured out.
I was about to bring that up. That I remember messaging you and being like, "Man, Uni is killing me. She fucking sucks." And then, I figured out how to really use her, and holy shit, can she clear a fucking battlefield?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She like you said, I hated her until I had to use her on like one of those exclusive levels. And it was one of those levels where you could get some space away from the enemies and she just mows them down.
Like a fucking hoss.
Being the only true long range character on that game is totally worth it. Like once I figured her out, she was one of her
EXE moves. Something blaster, I can't remember the name of it, but dude, if you hit that on the right group, it would blow them to the other side of the level. And that
it would
really help.
It would, and especially as you got her higher in level and did more damage, you wouldn't just blow them like clear across the stage. You just completely obliterate them.
I know there was one level I had to kill 150 enemies and defeat the boss, and I used Uni, and I think I beat that level in like 30 seconds. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I was a little disappointed in Vert, though. I know we touched on that a little bit earlier, but like she's normally one of my favorite characters in the games because she's usually very powerful. In this game, she was a little lacking.
Yeah, I thought she was like early in the game. I selected her for a couple quests, and I was like, awesome. She's got a spear. This is cool. It's going well. As the game progressed, she never picked up speed. She didn't really advance as far as like weapons and stuff go. They really underwhelmed me with her. Like, whereas she was like completely dumbed down and like brought to low level, they overpowered Blanc by a lot. Like I know you. I think you said you maxed out Blanc.
She was my first
on your
one.
Playthrough. I only managed to hit maybe like level 44, 45 with Blanc. And even then still at level 44, she was hitting for 18,000, 19,000 points of damage in CPU form, not even in HDD form.
I was hitting, I think 40k per hit. It's just insane amounts of damage that girl was doing.
Even with my level 99 maxed out Dengekiko and Neptunes, I was not even still hitting for half the damage that my level 40 Blanc was
they might be
hitting
pushing
for.
out more DPS because they swing quicker, but as far as heavy hits, dude, nobody touched Blanc.
Yeah, nobody did. And then if you used Blanc in her combos right, she was a fast hitter too. Like, you hit that one move where you just swung your hammer around in a circle.
Yeah.
You're hitting 20, 30. Yeah, you're hitting 20, 30 enemies in a grouping, all for 5 digits of damage.
Move. It's only useful in small rooms, but I think it's called like Geflechtliturn. It was the move she had that's in German, but it throws a bunch of projectiles and they bounce off the walls. So if you're in a small room and you use that, you could take out an entire group with it. It's fantastic.
Yep.
Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and throw a rating out there for me. I'll probably give this like a 5.5 Nep-Neps out of 10. Just because, like, you know, I came into it a little more knowing the background with the characters and stuff. So it was a little easier for me to pick up on the story. But eventually I gave up on it too. I'm like, all right, there is nothing here.
So similar rating, similar thoughts about the game.
Definitely a good game, though. Definitely a good game.
It's enjoyable. It might be a game that I pull up on a slow day, bored day, where I just don't really want to do anything other than hack and slash, because it does got some of the quests where, like, clear 1,000 enemies, clear 1,500 enemies, clear 2,000 enemies. Like, if you just want a long hack and slash run, they have the levels for that. Like, you don't have to back out, back in, different quests to get that. You can just sit down and do that clear 2,000 quest, like, and easily level up your lower level characters.
And I think that comes from this game originally being a Vita game. You know, being able to just pick it up, do a level, and set it down and play it later. Because, you know, being portable, that's kind of the way it happened, you know. So I assume that's why that it is the way that it is. And shit, I wouldn't change it. Like, it was super fun. I do kind of hate the quests that make you pick people. But I get that, you know, they try to spread the love.
Yeah, they want you to work on just everyone. This isn't like your typical fighter game where you can, you have the option to just pick one fighter over and over again, and then leave everyone else out. Like, did you actually play any of the unlockable game modes after you completed story mode?
No, I did not.
Once you complete story mode, it unlocks what they call the gauntlet mode.
Ooh.
And then you take your lineup from your save file and all of the current levels they are, and you can put them in a tournament against each other.
Oh, shit.
Yep. And then depending on what level of difficulty you set the tournament at, and if you win it, they also reward items and weapons to the winners of those tournaments.
Oh, that's rad.
And then once you complete the Gauntlet tournament, it unlocks a tower mode where you...
Like Mortal Kombat style?
Yeah, pretty much. You start off level 1, and as you go up in level, the difficulty increases.
Oh, that sounds cool.
That mode was really cool once I figured it out, because you play on the same save file as your story mode. Yeah. You can level up your lower level characters if you need to catch them up to your higher level ones in that tower. Like,
oh, that's badass.
And then it moves back over to storyline. So if you were missing some like character exclusive quests because you weren't a high enough level with them yet, go run a few levels in that tower to beef them up, and then you can go back to the quest mode and knock those out. No big deal.
Well, fuck. I wish I'd have known that instead of just grinding these quests over and over.
Yeah, no, that tower was cool, but like the quest grinding, it was necessary because, like I was saying, how to unlock it. You didn't unlock that tower until you actually rolled credits on the main storyline.
Yeah.
And then played an entire gauntlet tournament to completion.
The gauntlet mode sounds cool, though. I'll definitely hop back in and check that out. Because once I rolled credits on the game, I closed it out and started taking notes.
Yeah.
I remember what I was going to say. I actually got an achievement in the game for using everybody. Like, they gave you one there. It was like everyone's included or something like that.
I think I got that too. And it's like an achievement that they set up the game to give you because they're
eventually give you.
Yeah, because every single character has an exclusive level at some point.
Yes, and I think I got an achievement for piecing people together who are like friendly in the other games, like Neptune and Nepgear. I got an achievement for putting them together, with all the CPUs and their CPU candidates. Yeah. So they're little sisters.
I think the one achievement I noticed that I thought was hilarious was surviving a quest with items that did nothing but reduce your stat points.
Nice. Yeah, I know that there's a few of those items. I know on Famitsu I had one, I think it was called Glass Cannon, that just it tanked her defense to like 1.
Yeah, put your defense to 1, but it raised your attack by a lot. Like,
I think it's like 2,000, which is an insane amount.
Yeah.
So basically, you just had to keep swinging.
Yeah.
Keep swinging. Don't let them.
Yeah,
hit
I would not put that on any other character. Like the characters I would recommend that for would be Famitsu, Dengeki-ko, Neptune, Netgear, and maybe Noir. Like the really
one's fast enough.
Yeah, the really fast swords. Like
Yeah, only the ones that don't give your enemies time to hit
absolutely.
you. Well, man, I believe that we've pretty much covered everything that I had written down about this. This game, like we said in the beginning, mile wide, inch deep. There's not much to it.
Yeah, for sure.
But hey, Steamy. Hey, Steamy's lighting up.
Hey, Steamy.
That means he has something for us.
What is it? A new game? Is he got our next
Well,
adventure?
let's see. What you got for us, Steamy? All right, man. It looks like his chest is showing number 108. So let me pull up this trusty list of games that we have here that I have scrambled not once, but twice. The list is scrambled and the numbers are scrambled, so we will never be able to figure out which one we are going to get. And number 108, sir, is Batman Arkham Asylum Game of the Year Edition. Fuck yes. We have
awesome.
We have not hit a stinker yet. That's what I'm talking about.
No. Yeah. No, I'm definitely super pumped for this game.
Yes. Well, thank you, Steamy. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right. We will see Steamy next week, I'm sure. Dude, I'm stoked about this Batman game.
Absolutely.
I know
I've touched all of the games in the series just a little bit, casual gaming. Never got in far into it. Never completed any of them. So I really don't even know the storyline of any of the games, really, where they go or any what villains pop in, what Easter eggs there are. And a huge comic nerd. I'm gonna fucking love every second of this game.
You are the biggest comic book nerd that I know. I will say, I've only played Arkham City, but I have heard nothing but good things about Arkham Asylum. And
I mean, Arkham Asylum started it all.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a bad game, they wouldn't have continued.
Shit, if you think about it, if Arkham Asylum would have tanked, there would be no Spider-Man game, because the Spider-Man game plays a lot like the Batman games.
I don't know about that, because the Spider-Man game for the PS1 was amazing.
No, I get that. I'm talking just about the fighting mechanics and the one for PS4.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
They're similar. You'll see what I'm talking about. I do know that we have the other Arkham games in the list. The only one that's not in there is Arkham Knight, and honestly, I will probably add that. That way we can just cover the entire fucking Arkham series eventually.
Yeah,
it would
eventually
be really cool.
have the whole series.
Other than that, I think that'll do it for us this week. I would like to touch on our social medias. If you would like to find us, talk to us, ask us any questions or anything like that, you can find us at facebook.com/thesteammachinepodcast or twitter.com/steam_podcast. And like we said at the beginning of the episode, we are now available wherever books are sold. And by that, I mean podcasts. So whenever you are looking for us, you can go to Podcast Addict, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, something that I don't know about because I'm becoming an old man. We should be on all of them, which is fantastic. And don't forget, if you are feeling kind, to go to iTunes and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review, because that will really help us rise in the ranks for people to find us on iTunes. Other than that, man, I don't have much left. Anything else?
No, I don't. No. I'm good. I'm excited to get started on Arkham Asylum.
Yes. I will probably be streaming some Batman at some point this week. Twitch.tv/SuperNerdDalton, I believe. I will post a link to that on our Facebook and Twitter pages when I'm going to do that. Other than that, I believe that's it. So if there's not any last words from you, Ryan, then I would like to say thank you, everybody, for listening. We will catch you again next week. Take it easy.